Welcome everyone to another Suntime Socially Distanced Sit Down. I'm Annie Costabile, and this week we welcome in Chicago Sky guard Kahleah Copper. Kahleah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right off the bat, we got to get into it. I need to hear what you think about Muffet McGraw stepping down.
I think that she's a pioneer of those women coaches, just paving the way. And just showing that women are just as equally able to hold that throne. And I just want to send like a big congrats to her. I think just seeing it from another, I played for Vivian Stringer, so just seeing it from that standpoint, just playing for a woman who's also just pro-woman. And I think that it's just great that she can just take this time to just lay back and relax right now.
Speaking of Coach Stringer, though, you played for Rutgers, another Chicago icon, Cappy also suited up for Rutgers. How has Cappy, if at all, influenced your career, especially after joining the Chicago Sky, which she too played for?
I think when I was still in college, a lot of players came back and a lot of players shared their experiences and practiced with us and just answered our questions. And I think Cappy was one of those people who showed up to practice and just told me what to do to get ready for the next level. And then when the trade happened from DC to me coming to Chicago, I think Cappy immediately took me under her wing, just being that big sister and just still showing me the ropes of the league because it was still my second year. So I think she took care of me and just was there, just a leader for me. On the court, she was just a competitor, a really strong competitor. So she was just instilling in me just to go hard, just like we did back at Rutgers and just like Coach Stringer had taught us, and just telling me just to use those lifelong lessons that Coach Stringer has taught us to just apply it all the time.
Exciting news for you, restricted free agent, but re-signed with the Chicago Sky. What did that mean to you to, rejoin the Sky, especially based on everything that this team has built in the last couple of years?
I think it was really special for me. I think that this team feels like home. I don't know if you can really feel what I feel, but I think they feel like home to me. It's just it's something about the vibrance and just our vibes as a whole. It's just unmatched and undeniable, and it was no way I could go anywhere else.
Can you tell us a little bit what your daily quarantine schedule is like? How are you staying on top of your fitness and also keeping your skills sharp on the court?
So I don't have a basketball court, but I started off, I'll probably wake up maybe about 10 or 11. I'll have breakfast and I'll go ride my bike maybe about 8 to 10 miles, maybe 7 at least. But just take a bike ride and come back and have lunch, just relax. I started, Ann actually sent me some basketballs. So I've been in my back in the driveway, just working on my handles and just keeping the ball tight. I don't have a court right now. So I've just been doing whatever I can do without a basketball hoop. I think we all have this hunger inside of us. I think that this process right now is dragging it out, but we're itching. We just want to get back at it. And I think that everyone has been doing anything in their possible way to just stay busy, stay doing something. So I think, Sloot and Ali, they have the court and they can work out back in their backyard. I'm challenging my teammates to get bikes. I've challenged Ali. They've been bike riding, and I think everybody has just been staying busy, doing things, staying active, trying to stay mentally sharp and mentally ready for whatever could happen.
You were in a very unique situation in that you were playing overseas in Poland, and within a week's time span, things went from no longer playing in front of fans to the travel ban being announced to you needing to get on a flight and get back to Philly. Can you elaborate a little bit on how exactly everything unfolded for you and what it was like being overseas, having to navigate this virus?
Okay, so I think that it was just how you played it. We went from playing in front of fans until no fans at the games. And then we had one more regular season game left. And I remember it being some talks about the season could potentially be canceled. And we had practice like normal. After practice, I went home and I was still reading up on like different things coming up. But you know how the news, they'll immediately, soon something's out, it just comes out, whether it's right, wrong, or it could not be right or whatever. So
right.
I was looking at different things and I was like, okay. So they were saying if potentially it gets canceled, you know, this is what's going to happen. So I went from that to falling asleep, waking up to like so many messages and calls, and my phone goes on do not disturb after midnight. So when I look, I'm like, what's going on? So it's like, did you hear what's going on? Did you hear what's going on? Like, it's going to be a travel ban. It's going to be this, and that. And I'm like, okay, wait, I had to just process this. It's about 3:00 in the morning. Immediately, 3 a.m., I call Jasmine Thomas. And I'm like, hey, Jazz, wake up. Like, we got to figure out what's going to happen because this is getting serious. We don't know if we're going to be able to get back home. Mm-hmm. So we immediately look up flights. And before I even talked to my coaches there, I booked the flight home. I called my agent and she was just like, well, I'm hearing the same things you're hearing, but they're asleep, but you're going to have to do what's best for you. It ended up working out perfectly because I figured out more information on the ban later that day, and then I had time to clean my house. I had time to pack up all my things.
How has this pandemic affected your contract overseas?
So I haven't really spoke with my agent too like in depth about it, but I'm almost 1,000% sure I won't get my April salary, which sucks. But I come from a good club in Poland, so I think I only missed one game in March, so I'm almost certain that they'll give my full salary for March, which is very important. I'm really grateful for this new CBA. You know, I go from my rookie contract and not really making much, but then signing this contract for 2 years, and it's a really big jump. So I'm just grateful for making strides in the WNBA, making strides for those that's going to come after me, because the ones that paved the way before me has made major strides.
The WNBA draft this year, it was the most watched WNBA draft in
yes, I heard.
years, which is phenomenal, obviously. Where were you watching? And also, what did you think of this draft class and the excitement, you know, surrounding some of these players that are entering the WNBA?
I was home watching the draft, and it was
obviously,
really.
That's a really stupid question, of course.
I know. Yeah, I was home, no surprise. It was more interesting because not only was I watching it for the Sky picks, I was watching it to see the talent, to see who was going here, who's first round, and who was second round, who was third round. So I thought that it was interesting who I've seen play before, and it was just interesting. I think that it kind of, I was just happy that their whole experience didn't get ruined. For it to be broadcast on the main channel, you know, everybody across the world, across the country can watch it. I think that made it special.
The Last Dance. Have you been watching, and what are your thoughts on the first episode?
Yeah, so I watched the first one and I didn't get to finish the second one. I promised my nieces we would have a sleepover, but I watched the first one, and it was just interesting to see Jordan in his prime. It was unreal. It's funny because I used to call myself the female Jordan. So it was just like watching clips all day of Michael Jordan just run through players and just do whatever he wanted to do and dunk and just glide in the air. I just wanted to play just like him.
There's so many different scenarios that we're kind of hearing. As a player, what would be the ideal situation and scenario for you guys, especially factoring in your overseas contracts and how this may overlap, in the fall?
That'll be really interesting for it to overlap an overseas season, because people really like to play overseas and make that money. So it'll be tough, because not only like we overseas is still like people are still trying to see if they have the budget, one, and two, it's just like if we play and then we already rarely have breaks, time with our family. So it'll be like playing and going right there again. So I don't know how this will be. It'll actually be really interesting to see.
When this season does get underway, what do you think fans are going to see on the court?
I think that when we get started again, I think the fans are going to see us play at a level they've never seen before. I think we had time to sit back and really appreciate the game and appreciate what we've missed and be grateful. And I think that when we can get back out there and play at our best ability, I think that it's going to be really fun to watch. It's going to be really competitive. And I think that we'll have a greater appreciation for the game and just be ready to play.
We hope that we are, back covering basketball sooner rather than later. Stay happy, stay healthy, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and you stay safe also.